Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm in Brimsdown today in North London, in the London borough of Enfield. Now, I'm just walking down a residential street. It looks, very normal, and indeed it is very normal. And we're just coming along here. There's a road junction here. Now, I don't know if you can see, this isn't the subject of today's videos, but over there are three rather tall tower blocks. That's the Alma estate. There were four, but they've demolished one. They didn't blow it up. They must have taken it down because it's very close to the railway. So we were just on a road called Goldstown Road. We're now going to turn the corner into this road here. Green Street, London Borough of Enfield. Now, again, as I said, it looks very normal, but some of you, Green Street might ring a bell, because indeed in Green Street, this very normal street in North London, on the 31st of August 1979, the beginnings of something very abnormal started. Now, as I said, it's all very normal looking, these houses. They look pretty typical as to what you get in North London, or indeed any other suburbs of a British city. But the house we've come to have a look at is this one here. Number 284 Green Street. Now, first observations, again, quite normal looking, but for some reason it says Jesus House in the window. So what this video is going to discuss, and we'll get on to why it might be like that, I'm just going to go across the road where we can stand. There appears to be a school here. We're just going to stand in this area here where we can have a look at the house from a distance. So the house there, 284 Green Street, well, I said some very abnormal things happened. Started on the 31st of August 1979. A family lived there called the Hodgsons. There was the mother, Peggy Hodgson. She had two girls, Margaret 13 and Janet, who was 11, and they had two younger boys. Now, that on the night of the 31st of August, the girls in one of those bedrooms up there claimed that their beds were shaking, and they said to their mother, and she said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous, go back to bed." So they went back to bed. And I'm not sure if it was either later on that night or the next night, they said the same thing was happening again. And the mother came upstairs and a chest of drawers moved across the room. So the mother just pushed it back and said, "Look, come on, go back to sleep." And then the chest of drawers moved again. So she pushed it back again and it moved out a third time. And this time she couldn't push it back. And by then, when she started to believe that her girls were not making this up and that there really was something quite strange going on there. So what they did, they came out very scared, and I believe they went to this house here next door, and in this house lived a family called the Nottinghams, and the man who lived there was a builder, and he was a big bloke. He wasn't scared of anything, so he went next door. He went in and he walked all round the house, and he started seeing odd things happening and heard strange noises. And the noises he heard, being a builder, he knew the sort of noises rats could make or birds could make. And he said, "No, these aren't those sort of noises. Something paranormal is going on here, something different." And they didn't know what to do, so they called the police. So a police car would have pulled up outside here, probably maybe an old Ford Anglia, and a man and lady police officer, bearing in mind this is sort of 2 in the morning, or, it's in the night, they went in. And, to start with, it just seemed that the police didn't quite know what to make of it. When they were in the lounge, probably in that bay window there, and a chair slid across the room. And the police lady actually wrote a statement saying she witnessed a chair slide across the room in the lounge. But they said, "Look, we just don't know what to do. We can't help you, because no one is actually breaking the law. Yes, it's not normal for furniture to be moving about, but what can we do?" So the Hodgkinson family were now desperate. They're all sleeping in one room. Sometimes I believe they even slept at the neighbour's house. They were so scared to go into their house. They called a local newspaper. So then various newspapers started coming here, and the reporters, then they began to witness these strange paranormal activities, and it carried on for a while. And eventually a man called Morris Groves, who was an inventor, who invented, when you used to go to petrol station, you used to see those posters that changed. He invented that machine, but he was also interested in paranormal research, so he spent a lot of time there. But now it wasn't just furniture moving and odd knockings. The girl Janet. It was mainly centering on her. She was being pulled out of her bed at night and was seen to be levitating. There's photographic evidence of this, and really strange things are happening, and she was continually sometimes waking up. See where the bay window is? There was an armchair by that bay window. She sometimes would find herself waking up there, not sure how she'd got there. So they got a doctor to sedate her one night, thinking that she'd just stay in bed, because every night she was now waking up somewhere else. And so she was sedated now, she couldn't move. She went to sleep, they left her to sleep, and suddenly they came in the room just to check she was alright, and she was on top of a chest of drawers. So, it was getting really, really bizarre. But that wasn't the end of it. Things continued to get stranger. They carried on doing these investigations. And one thing that then started happening is the ghost started speaking, but he'd speak through Janet, and Janet has described it as that it felt like he was behind her, but he was using her, and he was saying to the people things like, "It's my house," and "my house." And they were really sort of, I can't keep it going for long, but she was doing that voice. An 11-year-old girl was doing that voice for 3 hours at a time, and he was swearing quite a lot. And they started asking him things like, "Who are you?" And he said something like, "My name is Bill Wilkins." And they thought, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Look, that's the person who lives there. I wonder if they're aware. She's looking at me. She's probably wondering why I'm doing a video outside her house. I wonder if she's aware of what happens in that house. But anyway, so he started, making these strange, so where was I? Got distracted by whether she's the modern day Janet. I'd love to know if she's been haunted by it, but I'm not going to go and disturb her. I will. So Janet was being possessed and saying all these strange things, but it said he was Bill Wilkins, and he said that he sat in that chair the day he died. He went blind and had a brain hemorrhage. His wife went out to the shops, and when she came back, he was dead. They got in contact with his son. He confirmed, yes, that's exactly what happened. So now it was clear who the ghost was. It was Bill Wilkins who lived in this house. But as he continued to possess Janet, still stranger things happened. I believe they locked her in a room upstairs, and they gave her a cushion, and they said to her, "Can you bring that cushion downstairs without opening the locked door?" And apparently the cushion rose up through the ceiling and onto the roof. And the postman was just coming along here, and he suddenly saw this cushion come out the roof, and it came down and hit him on the head, I think. Really bizarre things happened. And another one was Janet was upstairs in that, must have been the bedroom on the left, and she was holding a book. And while she was possessed, she went through the wall into that next door with the book, and she left the book behind and came back, and they asked her to describe the room, and she described it. And then they went next door, and she'd never been on that side. They didn't really know the neighbours. They knew the Nottinghams on that side, and she described it exactly as it was. So it really was, a really, really strange things happened in this house. And then eventually the reports, it did all die down after. It went on for about 18 months. It's probably one of the most well-documented cases of paranormal activity, or indeed a poltergeist, ever to happen. It's a really, really strange house. That's interesting. There's someone looking out the window in the next door. Now again, I do wonder if the people are aware of, what happened there. But moving on then, after all this, the girls grew up, they went on to lead normal lives. And strangely, Peggy Hodson, I think it was in about 2003, she actually passed away sitting in that same chair where Bill Wilkins passed away. And then after that, the Hodgkinsons moved out and another family moved in 15 years ago. Now that family, they knew nothing about the history, which makes me wonder, does whoever lives there now know anything about the history? They knew nothing about the history of that house, but they felt they weren't alone. They always felt someone was in the house with them. And they did a bit of research and realised in horror where they lived, that they lived in the house of the most well-documented poltergeist probably in history. So they were really, quite concerned. They moved out, and then another family moved in there. Now whether it's that person we saw coming out today, I don't know, but apparently they said they hadn't witnessed any paranormal activity and they didn't want to get involved. Perhaps they didn't want to conjure up anything. But to me it seems like Bill Wilkins, he obviously died, he perhaps wasn't ready to go, and that's kind of why his spirit lingers on. But it's the activities of the poltergeist. I mean, the parents had just split up. They say poltergeist activity happens in, you know, under stressful situations. You don't get a really happy family having that. So today the house, I think, has gone back to being a very normal house. The only slightly interesting thing about it is it does say Jesus House on that bay window. Now, whether that's, you know, to keep any spirit out, I don't know, but there we are. That is the story of 284 Green Street, the home of the Enfield Poltergeist. So I'm gonna now carry on walking. Oh, by the way, if you wonder what that thing behind me is, it's nothing paranormal. I'm aware it's there. I'll explain what that's about in another video, so do watch out for that. But anyway, so from 284 Green Street, where the house that was haunted in the 70s by the Enfield Poltergeist. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.